what I said, I'll just do a quick recap. I'm in China. Leslie's in San Antonio. So good morning, good evening, depending on where you're joining from. Hey, Evilise, we're here. We're here. We made it. And where I was talking to about how core, the theme of this month is walking in intention. Hey, Graylin. And we're meeting today with Graylin's lovely bride, Leslie, and about just owning your process, walking in intention, setting healthy habits. And I told her that when I thought of this theme, she was one of the first people that popped in my mind because I know what a planner she is. I know how she's very intentional. I've traveled with her and our other friend Lauren, who's very pretty much intentional too. And but I don't know why she dropped in my spirit. And I really want to have as many of our core sisters on here. So I feel like this topic is perfect for her. So super excited about having you today, Leslie. How are you doing? How are you feeling this evening?
I'm doing great. I feel honored that you thought of me and excited to be a part.
Yeah. Great. Yes, I did think of you because girl, I'm like, you are the queen of like lists and plans, and you have like when it talks about write the vision and make it plain, I just that's
I
you. So
try.
you've been a core sister for several years
Years.
now, and I think when I think of how active you've been, I think about 2020 when COVID
hmm
was really high. You were always on. We did calls like sometimes twice a month, right? We were
hmm
keeping everybody afloat, and it was such a great time, and the community was real and it was encouraging. So I think we shared a lot of ourselves during that time and kept each other kind of sane.
Yes, we did.
So
We did. We had no
let's
choice.
jump in. Like we know our theme is about being intentional, and we're talking today about owning your process and setting healthy habits. So when we say owning your process, what does that mean for you?
Um, for me, it means taking responsibility for your own lane, your own actions, because we all have unique variables to our lives,
Right.
and no one woman has the same situation. And so no one thing is going to work exactly the same for all of us. All we can do is share what works for us. And so I think owning your process um, is necessary in order for you to be successful in your personal growth,
Mm.
because only you know what all those variables are in your life. You know what I mean? Whether you're single or married or have littles or bigs, or all the things matter. We work or don't work, those all matter with what we're able to do. And so I think um taking ownership for your own life and where you are is super important, as opposed to trying to look over at someone else's lane and see what they're doing that's working. Sometimes that it helps to see what other people are doing, but sometimes you just kind of have to stay focused on what you're doing.
I like that. Focus on what you need.
Yeah.
Um, Tell me now, like I know when as the year goes on, people can start kind of feeling, bogged down or whatever, but like this beginning part of the year is really fresh, right?
hmm
And everybody's like, Happy New Year. And it's like, I don't know, even though it's just the next day, it's always like this renewed sense of like I have 365 days ahead of me.
Yes.
So with you, how do you start your year with intention? And I know it looks different for everyone, but what does that like new year, is it new year new you or new year old you with some modifications? Tell us a little bit
I, I
about that.
I know every day is a new day, but I am one of those people who loves a new slate. I love a new week, a new month, a new year. So naturally around my birthday, which is in October, I start getting that like already ready for the next year, because it's a new
Mm,
year, of life. But typically that funky week between Christmas and New Year, I'm super introspective,
mm-hmm.
writing things down. Like you said, I love lists, and I'm old school. Digital's great, but I like to write it down and get my journal and write all the things, what didn't work, what did work. And just trying to be intentional about like the priorities, because each year priorities change. But for me, it's that last week before the year starts where we really just take each area of our life, you know, whether it's family or finances or church or personal or physical, whatever, and just kind of go through it and try to make some systems. So one of the things we did a little bit differently this year was there's this quote by James Clear that I love. I don't even know if I'm saying it correctly, but it's like goals are for people who want to win once, and systems are for people who want to win repeatedly. And I love that because
I like that.
it's shifted my mind from just accomplishing this one goal that I have to creating a system that will set me up for like repeated success. And so that's something that we did differently this year was like, okay, instead of thinking in terms of accomplishing a goal, let's set up some systems to set us up for success.
That's great, man. That's game. Thank you so much for sharing that because I think we always look at it kind of isolated as just a goal. We don't think about making it more systematic.
Right.
So that's something that, um, that we can put kind of in our toolkit going forward. So I appreciate that. So, the new year's gone, you kind of mentioned October, but what can you tell like our friends that have joined about like when the year is kind of like going and you're feeling that sense of feeling overwhelmed
Mm-hmm.
and bogged down? What are some things that you can do to kind of take control? Is how can you be intentional about taking control of those feelings? Because we all are kind of feeling renewed right now, maybe most of us, but
Mm-hmm.
mid-year or when life kind of, life stays lifing.
Yes.
So when it's lifing, what kind of things do you do in those situations?
So life be lifing a
It
lot
does a
over
lot.
here. What helps me, because I'm easily inspired and I'm also easily discouraged. So I'm
Mm,
very like this.
okay.
Very,
Roller
very high
coaster.
highs, very low lows. You know, my roller coaster is consistent, but there's lots of ups and downs. But I think what helps me, and this is going to sound so cliche or generic, but a lot of times the reasons I feel stuck is because I have some expectation in my mind of how things should be because of,
Mm.
comparison to what other people are
Oh, that's
doing,
good.
or, when I think about the seasons of my life when I felt the most stuck, it's because I wasn't meeting a certain expectation I had in my head. So the first thing I do when I feel that is like, okay, why am I feeling this? What's causing this? And a lot of times it's from that expectation. And it's like, okay, let's remove these unrealistic expectations and do what we can with what we have right in front of us. I don't know if y'all ever seen Frozen 2, where that song that says, do the next right thing. It's like that. It's like I feel stuck or overwhelmed because of these expectations. Let's remove those expectations and just do the one small thing in front of us that can get us feeling motivated. For me, once I start doing something, even if it's small, then it's like, okay, I can do this. I'm not stuck. There is light at the end of the tunnel. And I think just taking control of what we can is really helpful for me at least. It's like get rid of the unrealistic expectations and just do something small that I can control.
That's great. No, thanks for sharing that. I have seen Frozen 2, but when you're talking about it, I'm thinking about Let It Go, which is, the anthem, right? But we can
Yeah.
even that can even fit here because we need to let go of those unrealistic expectations that
Yeah.
bog us down. And sometimes, even though you're being intentional, there is a little bit of letting it flow as well because you're putting
Hmm.
things in place. And like you're talking about the systems, sorry, not symptoms, systems. So I know when you and I chatted earlier last week, you were talking about, this is all good and it sounds super positive and super easy, but you have a lot of different roles that that you do and hats that you wear, and you're, a mother, a wife, a daughter, a pastor's wife, and you homeschool your children. And I probably know I'm missing some things, but I know that you've worked in the dental field and done a lot of different things. I've seen you kind of like have lots of irons in the fire. So we put these systems, goals, things in place, and they don't work out because things are going so fast and life is happening so fast. What do you do then? How do you pivot? Like how do we recalibrate? What does that look like?
So what's been working for me right now, and I don't have it like I'm not the queen of this yet. I do enjoy lists and systems and planning and habits and goals. I love it. I just love it. But I'm not. a professional quite yet. But what has been working for us right now is time blocking. Um, so my kids homeschool, but they also go to a co-op.
Okay.
So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, from certain time to certain time, it's school. That's it. I can't do anything else. We have to do school. And then the days they go to co-op, it's like I have to work. I work from home. And so it's like, okay, we have to work and I have to stay focused. I can't, yes, the laundry's piling up. Yes, the dishes are piling up. Yes, there's other things that need
It's
to be done,
real.
but I have to work.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're a church plant. So there's a lot of church work. And it's like, okay, I have from this time to this time to focus just on church stuff. And so it sounds like duh, yeah, that would work. But it's hard because things pull at you. And so I think the hardest thing is staying, we call them calendar commitments or calendar
Mm-hmm.
commandments, where you say, this is what I'm going to do at this time, and then you stay committed to that. And so that has really helped us or me right now um, to stay focused on those priorities. And then, then you have your times of days that are more flexible. It's like, okay, well, if I'm going to chill and watch a show, then I can deal with the laundry or meal prep or whatever else. It's just kind of prioritizing, okay, what's the next most important thing in this moment right now? Because if you think of all the things at the same time, you're going to get overwhelmed. Or, if you look at your pile of laundry, you're going to feel less than.
Right.
But if the pile of laundry is not the priority right now, then who cares? Don't think about it. Don't worry about it. You know what I
Right.
mean? So I'm trying to get better at that, just time blocking and focusing on the task at
I
hand.
like that time blocking. Is there anything what would be a challenge like with all of this? Like you said, I know like it's something that you're always perfecting and you're being intentional about it, but it may not work out. So what are some of the challenges that we might face when we're like trying to plan ahead and set these healthy habits?
The biggest challenge for me is my emotions.
Mm,
Because sometimes, I mean, you know how it is, the weather's just right. It's like this week in San Antonio, it's been real gloomy and cold, and it's like I don't want to do anything. You know what I mean? So
yes.
for me, it's like staying committed to the time that I've set up for myself. I have to do that in spite of my emotion. So one of the things I always tell myself, and I have not perfected it, it'll probably take me a few years, but is action over emotion. Like I've got to act on something over how I feel, whether it's I'm tired or I'm sad or I'm sick or whatever. And that's something I'm trying to work on this year is like, okay, you said you were going to do this. You need to do it even though you don't feel like doing it.
I love that action over emotion. And there's people that have been like, wow, I love that. Yes, time blocking. So, like, what you're saying is really resonating with our friends that have joined today. So,
Hmm.
you know, just for, you don't want to be cognizant of everyone's time, but like, you've given us a lot of advice, but I guess maybe what would be one thing that you would just leave with us? You've left us, you've given us so so much stuff already, but if there was something like I don't know that's been just on your heart or your mind lately that you want to leave, it in regard to the topic or otherwise that you just feel like you want to share that's kind of helped you or helped the community around you.
I think giving yourself grace
Hmm.
is the biggest thing. Is the biggest thing because life ebbs and flows and seasons change, and just when you get your habits just right and in a groove, life throws you a curveball, or your kids get sick, or you lose a job, or you know what I mean?
Right.
Nothing's perfect. And so I think giving ourselves grace and just always looking for the rhythm that works. I used to be so into like the specific of
Mm.
something, and I'm learning to be more flexible with just the rhythm. And sometimes you're in a season of go, 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 and you got to get things done. And sometimes you're in a season of rest and just being cognizant of your season, And if you're a mom with
Mm.
littles,
That's powerful.
like if you're a mom of littles, you're not going to be probably wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning and, do all the things. There have been seasons in life where that's been my season, where I wake up and do all the things, but that's not my season right now. And I'm okay with that. So I think just giving yourself grace and just always trying to, find the rhythm that works for you.
Right. That's good. And you know what? That's true. Being cognizant of your season and there's power in the pivot. Like you said, like don't worry about just the task. Like it's okay to pivot. and
Yeah.
modify a little bit. Like it's still getting done. It may not look exactly how you thought it would, but it still
Hmm.
gets done and it gets done well. So,
Yes.
man, thanks so much for sharing that. Do you have a word of the year? I know you've done word of the year with Core for a while. Do you have one
I
this year?
have. I actually don't have a word, but I have a phrase, and it's consistency compounds
Oh, okay.
from
Tell us a little more
from
about that.
Dr. John Maxwell. We went to some conference and he said that, and it just, I don't know, it just stuck with me. Like consistency compounds over time, you'll see the results. You're not going to see it tomorrow or the next week or month, but if you just keep doing the things you're supposed to do, then over time you'll yield the results.
I love it. That's awesome. I can't wait to hear what that looks like for you at the end of this year. So, tell us, like, is there what are you doing? I know you, like I said, I know you guys have a church plant. You mentioned it. Where can we find you? Where can we follow what's the great things you guys are doing at your church? What good things do you have going on in life right now that you want to share with the group?
Yeah, well, I'm on Instagram. Instagram is the place I'm most often on. I actually am in the middle of a like a little sabbatical from it. But when I am active on social media, Instagram is where I'm at. And then our church is Home Church, SA. We also have an Instagram account, and a YouTube channel. So sometimes I'll speak there at church and you can find me there.
Awesome. So, Home Church SA. Yeah, we'll have to look you up. So, well, I appreciate you like jumping on. We made it work. We have a great group of people, super engaged. Thanks every one of you that came on and listened to about how we're walking in intention, owning our processes and setting healthy habits. And yeah, we'll have you back sometime, maybe later on in the year to tell us how it's going when we do our check-ins in the summer.
I would love that. That would be awesome.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much. You have a good evening and have a good evening to those of you that are in the US and a good morning to those that are in China. All
Thanks, Sasha. Bye bye.
right. Take care. Bye, girl.